Hey guys, Edgar here, Guns for Everyone. Another one of my short videos. I always intend for these to be short videos, and sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't. We'll see how this one goes out. But I wanted to talk about tachypsychia. If you read the title, you probably understand what I'm going to be talking about. But tachypsychia is really the reason why we don't encourage, we discourage heavily for humans who are using firearms in self-defense, really in anything. But I'm a firearms instructor, so firearms for me. But we discourage the humans that show up to our classes to look at their guns when they're manipulating their firearms. There's no need to. Proprioception is another reason why we don't do that, and maybe I'll give it a little attention. Proprioception later on in the video. Maybe we'll see how this goes. But yeah, you see a lot of humans going to the range, and during a reload or a malfunction, what they do is they look at the gun, they look at the object, and they're kind of diagnosing what's going on. I shared some videos, or at least gave you an idea of where to go find the videos for non-diagnostic linear malfunction drills, so you can understand how to clear malfunctions without having to diagnose your firearm. But you see this a lot with humans and reloads. That's what we see a lot often, or often in classes, is people having to reload. So you see this in videos, and you see instructors encouraging people to look at their gun, and supposedly it's so that you know where to put your gun in. Fuck it, I'm gonna do proprioception right now. Let's go to it right now. If we go and we type a proprioception. There we go. Proprioception is otherwise known as kinesthesia. Is your body's ability to sense movement, action, and location. This is the reason why you don't have to look at the brake or the gas pedal when you're using your vehicle. This is why you virgins, you fucking nerds, don't need to look at keyboards when you're playing your video games or your remote control, right? As I talk shit about you guys. I don't need to look at this in order for me to know where all the levers are at and the buttons and all that shit. I just know where the fuck it's at. I don't need to look at it. If you train with your firearm enough, you know where the fucking hole is at. It's in your hand, because that's how the fuck it works. So you don't need to look at your firearm. But a lot of instructors, for whatever reason, especially instructors that come from the competition world, they're huge on looking at the gun. And maybe I get it because time and whatever. But according to science, and according to proprioception and tachypsychia, you really shouldn't be looking at your firearm. So tachypsychia, what the fuck is that? For those of you guys that don't know, tachypsychia is a neurological condition. This is why a lot of you guys get into the stressful moments or accident or what have you. And for some of you guys, it's you feel or you perceive like time has sped up. It happened fast. That shit happened so quick. It was instantly, and it was over. That type of shit. And then for a lot of humans, it's kind of the other side of it. It's the opposite. Everything seems to be moving slowly, and that's an issue when you're looking at your gun, right? There's a video that I would like to play just very quickly. It's a video about a firefighter kind of discussing his experience with tachypsychia. But here we go.
The stressful scene, and I was trying to do my size up and get everything in order for the first arriving company. When the first arriving company pulled in, I told them that I wanted to have them connect to a water supply, get a hose line pulled, and get the hose line advanced into the structure. As I watched this play out, it was quite literally in slow motion. It looked like these.
Well, this is where I get so fucking caught up in this shit that he says quite literally in slow motion. It's his perception of it. So it quite literally wasn't working that way. There is a such thing as time dilation and shit like that. That's it happens in very small increments, but it has to do with speed, and it has to do with height and space and all that shit. It's more astrophysics than anything else. But anyways, I digress.
These people were crawling on the scene, and the amount of time it was taking them to get the hose line pulled and connect it to the hydrant and get their SCBA face pieces on and get up to the door of the house just seemed like it was forever. So much so that I was experiencing a certain amount of anxiety myself, frustration, anger, disappointment. All of these emotions are running through me because the owner again is like right there with me, and very upset, and again adding to my stress level, and it just gave the complete appearance that the crew was just almost like they didn't care they were moving so slow. Well,
And that's a problem, right? If I'm in a defensive situation and for whatever reason I need to clear a malfunction, I need to reload, what have you, and if I'm looking at my gun and you're experiencing what this individual was experiencing, it looks like South Bend. I don't know where from, but EMS and fire. So if you're experiencing what he's experiencing, you're looking at something, you're moving slowly, and you're gonna potentially try and rush what you're trying to do, and that's why you miss the fucking hole. Some of you guys know what the fuck I'm talking about. And conversely, if you believe you're moving too fast, you're gonna try and slow that shit down. But we all know you don't have to slow it down. You just need to keep going. So that's the fear of looking at the firearm. One, you don't have to look at the firearm again because of proprioception. I don't need to look at the firearm. I don't need to rotate. I don't need to do any of that crazy dumb shit. I just need to let my body do what it needs to do. I keep the gun at a high compress ready, just like when I was pointing it at the bad guy. That type of shit, right? Like it's pretty easy to do. If we take a firearm, right? If I take this, like I don't need to look at it. I know where all that shit is at. I'm looking at the camera. I know where the fucking thing is at. I know where the hole is at, and it's pretty easy to fucking get there without looking at the firearm. I don't need to look at the firearm to do any of that shit. I don't need to look at the firearm to grab the slide and hit the button and insert another magazine. Like I don't need to do any of that shit. Grab the slide and do all that shit. It's an empty gun, so I don't have to. That's proprioception, and if I look at it unnecessarily because of what we just discussed with tachypsychia, now I'm rushing. Fuck, it happens every once in a while in training when people get frustrated because they're trying to hurry up and get the magazine and they miss it a little bit, and that's because you're rushing or you're moving too slow or you're trying to be way too methodical instead of just letting your body do what it knows what the fuck to do. I'm gonna let this guy finish his conversation because I think it's important.
as it turns out, another neighbor was shooting a home movie. Now, this is before all the modern technologies of smartphones and being able to record movies on your smartphone. But this neighbor was recording this on a video camera and stopped down at the fire station and offered me a copy of the video. And I accepted it, and I took the video and I put it in the television and I played it. And what I saw in real time on the video was a very, very different perspective than what was playing out in my mind, and that the crews were moving very quickly and accomplishing their tasks very efficiently and doing everything just at a very good pace. But as I was experiencing it, thanks to my stress, thanks to tachypsychia, it was just like the whole incident was in slow motion, which again.
So that's really why you want to avoid looking at the firearms. Don't rely on visual cues with your firearm. You do what you need to do with the bad guy. That's really the only thing you should be focused on until the bad guy is no longer bad guy, and then you start looking around for the other stuff that is important to look for. You looking at an object, you looking at magazines and whatever like that's unimportant shit. Your body knows what the fuck to do, especially if you train and practice and you do all that stuff, develop that muscle memory. So tachypsychia is affected primarily by a complete rush of increased usage. Again, basic shit. much more complex than this, but your body's starting to use dopamine and norepinephrine, norepinephrine, noradrenaline. It's noradrenaline, adrenaline, epinephrine, same shit. Um, so this is now rushing through your body, and it affects the way your brain is processing information. Again, it's a lot more complex than that, but this is going to happen. It's going to happen whether you like it or not. This is another reason why we experience auditory exclusion. We'll talk about that in a different video. This is why you get the quote unquote tunnel vision. Tunnel vision is a positive thing, right? But we need to understand it and how to work with it. So tachypsychia is one of those things that's most likely going to happen to you. And if it does happen to you, you should learn how to work with it. Part of the ways that you work with it is just don't look at your fucking gun. I know my brain is going to speed shit up, or at least give me the perception that shit is sped up or slowed down. And I need to understand not to look at my firearm because of that. Again, proprioception is another reason why you don't look at that shit. You don't have to. So understand how the brain works, understanding how guns and physics and science all works is super important for you to develop good training strategies and tactics, and make your automatic, the shit that you have no control over, the shit that just happens without your permission to a certain degree, whether it be internal or external. There's a lot of shit that is external. The bad guy attacking you is an external thing that you have very little control over, almost no fucking control over. The only thing you have control over is how you respond to it, and because of it, I need to know how to respond to the stimulus. And the more I understand how physics works, how science works, how my neuroscience works, the more prepared I'm going to be in these fights. So that's why it's important to have these conversations. Understand the limbic system, the amygdala, the thalamus, hypothalamus, the hippocampus, that type of shit, sympathetic movements. This is just one component of it, is the tachypsychia stuff. Later, I'd like to talk about how the adrenaline actually affects your body and all that shit. I think we covered it a little bit, but I think if we talk about it a little bit more, and give you guys a little bit more information about that shit and how it affects your training, and how to prepare for it and all that stuff, I think it's valuable. At some point, I'd like to do this at a range, but I think this is kind of working out. But either way, I appreciate you guys hanging out. Short-ish video, I guess, ish. Share it, tell your friends, learn about tachypsychia. Again, the goal of this is not for me to be like, I'm the neuroscientist, check this shit out. I know about it, but I want you to know about it too, and go study it, and go learn about it, so you can know how to better prepare for it in a good guy, bad guy fight. So again, I appreciate you guys. Share this, like it, tell your friends about it, all that shit. See you guys next time.